Alright, bonus stream today. Hello, Serp. Serp is here already. Bonus stream to finish up Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Surely today, surely, we will finish it. If I do finish early, I won't start another game today. We'll just end. Well, I do say finish, don't I? I mean, this seems to be the last chapter. Turns out we had a surprise witness on our hands. The victim himself, the storyteller. Then again, nothing surprises me anymore. The secret behind Labyrinthia, the legendary fire, witches, magic, and finally, Bezella. The veil was just about to be lifted off of these mysteries, once and for all. Okay, everyone, it's high time we end this. See, even Phoenix agrees. Let's give Labyrinthia the fresh start it deserves and solve these mysteries. Oh, that's right. It even is called Epilogue instead of being called, like, its own chapter. So to recap, the big twist from the previous chapter, we have somehow proven that magic is not real. It's just technology. It's just a bunch of people in nanomachine cloaks of invisibility, but they can still see each other, that go around, follow anyone who's a witch 24 hours a day in order to replicate the effects of any magic spell that they choose to cast, and then if they need to, they also wipe people's memories of, like, transitional periods where they're like, okay, we need to take a little bit of time to move this guy out of here and move a statue into place, and then we'll just erase your memory afterwards so that you think that it happened instantaneously. I'm not a huge fan of this twist. They kind of, every cries and Beatrice, they've violated every one of Nox's decalogues. I don't think there were any clue. Like, this could have been good if I had any reason to suspect it all along, to go like, oh, that's, like, do we really believe that this is magic? But they pushed it on us so hard and with no clues whatsoever that it was, like, we saw video footage of it happening. Like, we actually saw it live, that it was like, oh no, they were actually engulfed in flames. Oh no, he was actually turned into a statue. It's kind of cheating. It makes this a poor game in the mystery genre, which is okay, because it's not like Phoenix Wright's really a mystery game. It kind of is, though. It pretty much is. Anyhow. I don't quite know what to say. I am truly shocked to see the storyteller again, alive and well. This was unexpected by me, too. Come on, say it a little more regally. That's not how you talk if you're all proper. This was unexpected by me too, as I did not plan to appear before you all again. I was convinced that you would all see the last of me at the parade. But this is the trial for your murder, and you are alive. Yeah, see? No one was killed. So let's call the whole thing off and never have witch trials again. Nice try, Maya. Whoa, Maya, take it easy. We're still in court, remember? But what's the point of this? The storyteller wasn't killed. Espella would never do anything to harm her dad.
Objection.
If only it was as simple as that to end this trial. However, it is not, Miss Fay. He missed his opportunity to say, would that it were so simple. But, Professor, search your memory and you will know the reason why. The crime Miss Cantabella is accused of is not just murder. The purpose of the witches' court is to sentence the witches for what they are. Isn't that right, Mr. Storyteller? I fully intend to expose the true identity of Bezella. This would not be possible without you, Mr. Storyteller, on the witness stand. I see. And so you assumed the role of an inquisitor just to lure me here. Be that as it may, the Inquisition still maintains that Espella Cantabella is the Great Witch, Bezella. Dad. It's been a long time, Espella. 4 years, in fact. You must have experienced many hardships living among the townfolk. This daughter of mine never fits in with others, no matter how hard she tries. No, it wasn't quite like that. There were people who supported me. Aunt Patty was very kind, and the customers who came to our bakery were nice to me. I'm happy to hear that. I wanted to watch over you ever since you left for the town, but in the end I failed to do so. I had no idea of what was happening to you. I am very sorry, Espella. Oh, Dad. You don't need to apologize to me for anything. It's me that owes you an apology. I was trying to hurt you. It was all my fault, not yours. There's no reason for you to blame yourself. Dad, I'm happy we got to talk. Espella. You were so busy writing everyone's stories that we stopped talking to each other. Before, it was different. You used to have time for me. Please forgive me. Why did it have to come to this? Mr. Storyteller, it's time to put everything in order now. The townsfolk and your daughter deserve to know the truth. The truth about yourself and the story. Yes, I suppose it is time I told you the truth. Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Storyteller? Hey, Mr. Storyteller? Hajime Oka. In this trial, I shall be judged. Understood. The witness shall testify. People of Labyrinthia who have gathered in this court, I will now tell you the true story. Many of you will certainly find it hard to believe and difficult to accept, but you are all living in the Matrix. Nevertheless, I ask you to please lend me an ear and listen with open minds. Espella, my dear daughter, I ask you to do the same, too. I wonder if there's going to be any court, or... Okay, there is. I was like, wait, is this actually just gonna be conversation? Although you know me as the storyteller, I have one more identity. I am the president of Labrellum Inc. This is going to get even stupider. Oh, wow, it is. This whole town is one of Labrellum's research facilities. It may be hard for you to comprehend. This land is rich in a very special substance which affects everyone who lives here. This substance enables the manipulation of people's minds, and that is what Labrellum is researching. This experiment began... You missed the opportunity. Make it 9 years ago. Make it 9 years ago. We can exactly be 999. The townsfolk all became test subjects. I don't understand. What does it all mean? I don't quite understand what I've just heard. I do not blame you. I suppose all the townsfolk are just as confused. Labyrinthia is an artificial town, created entirely by me. But of course, As artificial as it may be, it is the reality for those that live here. For the past 10 years, I have been bringing the illusion to life by writing the story. I am lost for words. It feels as if the whole world has been turned on its head. Your Honor, it is certainly not an easy matter to grasp this new situation at once. Regardless, I suggest we hear more of what the witness has to say. Yes, I agree. Let's continue. The defense may begin the interrogation. If you present a wrong piece of evidence, I will execute this man's daughter right in front of him. Like, we're still in the trial and I still have hit points, right? I still have 1 hit point. We're seven chapters on the same hit point.
Hold it.
This is too much. I don't even know where to start. Labrellum Inc. That's a name I have heard before. It is a global pharmaceutical... See? Just call it... Oh wait, what was it called? What was Ace's company called? Cradle Pharmaceutical. It is a global pharmaceutical company with headquarters in England. If my memory serves me right, it was founded by Arthur Cantabella. Indeed, that is my true name. Are you familiar with that, Mr. Wright? Sure, yeah, I've heard of Labrellum Inc., of course. Labrellum Inc. is known for developing a completely harmless anesthetic! What are they doing? Wait, is this intentional? Is one of them copying the other? It's like... It's the Soperel for the Cradle Pharmaceutical. Jeez, dude. Whoa. Just bring out June. Just come on. Just take her right out of the incinerator. Have her walk right up. It is now widely used in hospitals all around the world. The company is also working on other plant-derived sedatives, revolutionizing medicine. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your vast knowledge, Mr. Layton.
Objection!
Objection, it's Professor. That's irrelevant. That fact is just based on the real world we're from, not Labyrinthia. The real world, Mr. Wright? Then what would you call the world we are in now? Do you think this is a fantasy? No, that's not quite what I meant. Mr. Wright, I do not mean to be so rude as to presume what thoughts are running through your head. However, Labyrinthia is certainly not a place within a book, or in the past. Labyrinthia is a part of the world we know. Huh. What? But how? How could a town like this exist in the real world? Do you think it's impossible? Why would that be? Are you saying that everyone would know about an unusual town like this if it existed? Well, that or, like, shouldn't we see planes flying overhead? You know, stuff like that. It's something like that. Anyway, it would be on a map at least. No. I'm afraid that cannot be so. Huh? This town is not marked on any map. It doesn't officially exist. What do you mean? The answer is quite simple.
Hold it!
This whole town is a research facility? Yes, this whole area is private property of Labrellum Inc. So, they own all this land, then. That is why Labyrinthia is not marked on any map, and people from the outside cannot enter. We have taken measures to ensure that this town is not noticed by local residents. What measures are you talking about? Consider the fact that magic is supposed to exist in this town. Perhaps special mechanisms that were used to create magic also serve to conceal Labyrinthia. There are limits to what magic the Shades are capable of producing on their own, after all. That is the case indeed. The magic in this town has been made feasible owing to the latest technology. The latest vibranium technology. Technology? Tricks? I cannot believe this. However, there is one question. One single question. There is no industry in Labyrinthia. How do you obtain the necessary commodities? Very observant, aren't you? All commodities are regularly shipped in by sea. A young man once made his way here on a freighter and took Aspella out of the town. That was Carmine Accidenti, a friend of mine. I see. But is something on this scale really possible? No. As you might suspect, it would be beyond the power of Labrellum Inc. to keep a facility this size a secret for so long. Labyrinthia is a project co-founded by the British government. What? It's a government project? But what would be their stake in this? It's all because of my beliefs. His beliefs? Ah, by the way. Yes, Your Honor. What is a research facility? I've never heard of anything like that before. Ah, yes, that was careless of me. Naturally, you wouldn't know what it means. How should I explain? This whole town is my creation. Ah, that's what it was about. In other words, it's all your story. That makes it all clear. Swing and a miss, Your Honor. Getting back to the topic. There is an important reason why we have chosen to build such a facility here.
Hold it!
A special substance? What does it actually do? This area has been isolated since ancient times, developing its own unique culture. There are underground ruins on the verge of the town. We've found writings there, presumably left by the natives of this land. A bell that was supposed to be there was missing. So you have seen the ruins. I suspected that you would find them. Then perhaps you have also noticed that everyone who lives here has a very peculiar condition. A peculiar condition, you say? I can't just sit here quietly like a patient old man when you're saying such things. Just what kind of condition is it? You have every right to know. This condition makes people fall unconscious upon the sound of a certain metal being struck. Oddly specific. Metal? What kind of metal? Pure silver. And so there is not a single object made of silver in Labyrinthia. Oh, that was the hint. That was the hint all along that we were supposed to figure out. The whole town is a research facility. Everybody has amnesia. They all fall to silver. Is that we didn't see any silver objects. So there were clues. There were clues cluing us into. Now that I think of it, that's true. Just imagine what a disaster a fancy dinner would be if everyone fainted when they used silver cutlery. This condition is an integral part of magic. How so? All inhabitants of Eldwich Woods carry small silver bells. I see now. The Shades ring the bells when they need to create the illusion of magic. Everyone present falls unconscious and the Shades set to their work. Sir, you gotta pay more attention to these things. Oh, look at where that Shade's hand... What are you looking at? Wait, what are you looking at? Maya, what are you looking at? What does that even mean? Did he show you a picture? So that's the secret of the time-stealing magic Darklaw told us about. Now that they mention it... Kira had a small bell with her when we saw her back at the marketplace. We have been researching this condition at Labrellum Inc. And finally, we discovered its cause. It was the groundwater. Water causes it? The groundwater contains a certain unique substance found in the soil in this area. So if you drink that water, you get this silver allergy thing? But, of course we've been drinking it. It's impossible to live without water. Of course. That's why everyone who lives here has that condition. Oh dear. You needn't worry. This condition is harmless, especially as silver is unknown to the townsfolk. Something's still not quite right, though. If the sound of silver bells makes people pass out, why don't the shades pass out too? They drink only Aquafina. Although the effect of the substance in the groundwater is powerful, it doesn't last long. The condition will vanish after a day or so without drinking that water. That's convenient. Everything is convenient, Phoenix. Everything is very convenient. That substance's effects aren't limited to humans. It can also affect plants to a great extent. Plants are affected by it. Our research was focused on the plants rather than the humans.
Hold it!
That sounds really scary. Just what is this about? The substance enters the groundwater, affecting organisms that consume it. People who drink it daily acquire that odd condition. They fall unconscious upon hearing the sound of silver metal. Yes, although the substance in the groundwater also has a tremendous effect on plants. Wild flowers in this area contain a certain poison. Upon my beard! Poison? This poison doesn't harm the body. It has the effect of manipulating the mind. So it brainwashes people. I've been writing the story for 10 years. The title of the story is Historia Labyrinthia. The ink I used to write it was made from those plants. Really? Okay, fine. Oh, Nick, do you remember how funny the ink smelled? No. That... This is terribly dumb. That was the gas released when the ink evaporates, and that's where the trick is. What? Those that inhale the gas become extremely susceptible to suggestion. You mean brainwashing? They will believe anything they are told, or anything they read, however strange or unrealistic. It will be imprinted into their minds as the red truth. So that was the true purpose of the parades. That was the real reason for the parades. They were just doing science. They were just doing a science experiment where they take hundreds of hapless people and give them papers that have hypnotic ink written on it so that they smell the gas from the ink evaporating and become brainwashed. That's how you do science. They've got a control group, like one town over, where it's the same thing except they use regular ink. Scientific method. Pages of the story written in that special ink were regularly distributed among the townspeople. It was done so that everyone would be in a state of hypnosis. Indeed, The creation of a fully controlled town with the inhabitants subject to long-term hypnosis. Don't even tell me that that was at the top of the abstract. That was one of the topics of our research. Freaking whatever. Then the story that is written in the Historia Labyrinthia. You could call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, realized through the Shade's work and the hypnotic effect of the ink vapors. Is that how it was all this time? Labrellum used hypnosis to control all these people. I can't believe that the government was supporting that. Alright, well, object then.
Hold it!
All the people subjected to this experiment have been living here all this time? No, we started with just a few people, gradually getting more and more. I must say that I am afraid of what the answer to this question might be. But where did these people come from? You haven't resorted to abduction by any chance, have you? Of course not. That wouldn't be scientific. Every test subject signed a contract with Labrellum. A contract to have their memories erased and be used like pawns in a story? The current inhabitants of this town have one thing in common. They were all dissatisfied with their lives and wanted to start anew, forgetting about their mistakes, forsaking unwanted identities, and becoming shady thieves who, like, go to molest women at the edge of the forest and then get set on fire? Okay. There are more people like that out there than you might think. They have all agreed to participate in our research. But that's insane. It's not as unreasonable as you suggest, even though it is. We give them a new identity, a chance to start their life again. In return, they subject themselves to hypnosis and live in this town as our test subjects. In order for this project to be possible, we suppress their memories of the past, including the memory of signing the contract. So, ultimately, they are not aware of what is going on. I couldn't agree more. I've got no idea what's going on. Let me make this clear, Mr. Wright. We do not erase their memories, we suppress them. They will regain their memories of life before Labyrinthia once their contract is over. So, this place was uninhabited before you started this research 10 years ago? And you've managed to keep everyone in a state of hypnosis for 10 years straight. Can you really hypnotize someone for that long? I mean, 10 years is one heck of a long time. It was achieved through the distribution of the story during parades. The ink vapors have a powerful effect, but it wouldn't last 10 years, of course. With each parade, the effect was renewed. That's why the parades took place at regular intervals. That was the true purpose of that event. I have been born and raised here. What does that mean? Oh, he was actually one of the people who lived here. Okay. And then he became the president of a pharmaceutical company. Okay. It was a poor, small town with no industry to speak of that had fallen behind the times. Ever since I was a child, I had one friend that was especially close to me. He was a bright boy, curious about the world. His name was Newton Belduke. Sir Newton Belduke, the alchemist. So they were childhood friends. The plot thickens. He had always been interested in the unique natural features of this land. There was really nothing here, but to us this area was an exciting place worth exploring. And one day we made an astonishing discovery on the outskirts of the town. We stumbled upon the entrance to the underground caverns leading to the colossal ruins. Wow, look at that, Newton! This is so amazing!
This strange writing. I've never seen anything like it before.
We found ancient writings in the ruins. Newton managed to decode some of them because sure. According to our findings, a highly advanced culture had existed on the land where our little town was built. Some great calamity had befallen the natives and they migrated elsewhere. They believed that plants and water in that area were cursed by an entity they called the Great Witch Bezella. The natives sealed the curse within the ruins and left in search of a new home. That is all we managed to decipher. Bezella's curse.
It was sealed in the ruins, you say?
Would that be the Bell of Ruin? The Bell of Ruin. Oh, that's that bell from the bell tower. I wonder why it's got an ominous name like that. Regrettably, we couldn't get any further information from the writings at that time. Needless to say, Newton and I were very excited by the discovery. I knew it. This place is special. It has some kind of mysterious power. If we could find out what that is, our humble town would become famous.
You know what? I'm going to do that. I will unravel the mystery of this place.
Maybe the same guy said that, whatever. And so Newton began studying the indigenous plants and substances dissolved in the groundwater. On the other hand, I studied economics and management at a university in London. I dreamed of bringing prosperity to this poor, forgotten town. I wanted to change it for the better with my own hands. Meanwhile, Newton had succeeded at extracting a new anesthetic from the local plants. Was that the anesthetic which led to the foundation of Librellum? Yes, it was a huge success for Librellum Inc., and before we knew it, we were making a fortune. We wanted the whole world to hear about our hometown. Alas, fate was not kind to us, as we never realized that dream. Everyone in our town had died. All the townspeople perished. Huh? Just what on earth happened to them? That doesn't matter. That does not matter anymore. We purchased the environs of our town, the mountains, the lake, the plains, everything. Then, 10 years ago, having received financial support from the government, we started Project Labyrinthia. It was much smaller in the beginning. It started as no more than a village. Over the course of 10 years, it slowly grew into a town. The population increased as well. More people will sign the More people will signing... Why is he suddenly southern? More people were signing the contract with Librellum, slowly increasing the number of inhabitants, correct? Yes. They would sign the contract, be hypnotized and assigned a role, and then be introduced to the world of the story. I have spoken at length. Thank you for patiently listening to my tale. Bezella is the name of a witch from an ancient legend that we read about in the ruins. It is a fictional character. She does not exist. But then, magic and witches. Magic is just an illusion, and there are no witches. Alright, so it was all fake. That doesn't make it much better. Why did you write a story where people get killed with magic and witches are thrown into the fire? Good question. You could have made it a peaceful, pleasant world where everyone would be happy. No, that was not possible. But why? This is a research facility after all. We're doing science. We're researching ways to completely control human beings. Test subjects need to be exposed to extreme situations, so we decided on a fantasy setting. We wouldn't have got funding. Come on. What did I tell you about speaking good? We wouldn't have got funding from the government otherwise. In other words, we're running a business. but just what instructions do you give to the people you hypnotize? You don't give each of them a full set of memories of their whole fictional life, do you? No, it's much more simple than that. We only give them 2 pieces of information. The first one, that they were born in this town, and the second was their new occupation. Then they fill in the gaps themselves without being aware of it. The human mind requires a consistent story of one's life. Which means, of course, that no labyrinthian has memories from earlier than 10 years ago. No one has any memories from before they came to Labyrinthia. What are you saying? That's all one big lie. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. But can you remember your childhood? I can't. That's true. I can't remember even my parents. What a weird thing to not realize for 10 years. I can't recall my own mother's face. As you can hear, no one can remember their real past. There are no exceptions. Huh? Wait a second. No exceptions? I smell contradiction here. It seems Mr. Wright, too, has noticed it now. What are you talking about, Layton? Mr. Cantabella, you have just testified that not a single citizen of this town remembers anything from more than 10 years ago. Yes, as that is the truth. Now that's a strange assertion, especially coming from you. What? What do you mean? There is one person in this town who remembers what happened more than 10 years ago. Man, can you imagine if we had to go through all of this again? That cannot be. It is impossible. They must be merely imagining things now. Mr. Wright, please enlighten us all. Who is this person that remembers their past? It's Isabella. She says that she remembers the fire. Precisely, Mr. Wright. That person is none other than Isabella Cantabella. What? That's impossible. It's true, Dad. I remember it clearly, as if it happened yesterday. The legendary fire. No, that's impossible. That's just your imagination, Isabella. No, it's not. I couldn't remember it before, but it all came back to me because I'm Bazella. No, Isabella, there are no witches. That fire, it was just a bad dream. The Inquisition would like to call Isabella Cantabella to testify. What? Regardless of whether Ms. Cantabella is Bazella or not, her memories may contain valuable clues. Yes, that may be so. No, wait. I don't agree to this. This trial is over, Your Honor.
Objection.
You seem to be forgetting something, Mr. Cantabella. Your story has ended. You are no longer in control. You are merely one of the characters. And this is also why we will not cease seeking the truth until we find it. Grr! Defense, what is your opinion on this? Isabella keeps insisting that she is the witch Bazella. As her attorney, I should refuse to let her speak to the court, but then the game won't be able to continue. But what's really important now is finding the truth, just as Layton said. There's only one way to proceed with this trial, and that's by questioning Ms. Cantabella about her memories. In that case, the court summons Isabella Cantabella as a witness. Attendants, bring the accused to the witness stand. Now, witness, testify about your memories of the legendary fire. Yes, my lord. I was just a little girl then. It happened during the annual fire festival. What a bad idea. Why would you have a fire festival? And if you were going to have a fire festival, why wouldn't you take precautions? Everyone was gathered in the town square for the fire festival, and I was watching them from the bell tower. The great witch Bezella awoke within me and brought calamity upon the town. An enormous fire dragon appeared. I was trembling with fear, terrified by what I had summoned. Witness, what you have told us wasn't a bad dream or a fairy tale, but what you actually experienced? Yes, it was. Like I have already said, and also I'm sure that I wasn't brainwashed into believing it, even though we've just established that literally every single person here has been brainwashed into believing things. I remember it very clearly, the heat from the fire, the smell of the smoke. Isabella, what are you talking about? The defense may cross-examine the witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Was there really a huge fire that destroyed the town? And what about Bezella? Is she even real? The answers are in Isabela's testimony. And if I don't find them, we're going to execute her still. Sure, why not?
Hold it!
Do you remember what age you were then? I'm not quite sure, but I think I was 6 or 7. And how old are you now? I'm 18 years old. That means those events did take place more than 10 years ago. It's very odd that you have memories that old, but perhaps you're mistaken about your age at the time.
Objection!
Your Honor, no one besides Isabella has witnessed the legendary fire, which would mean that the incident occurred before Labyrinthia was created, over 10 years ago, unless she was wrong about her age. That's what the judge is saying. Don't say it makes sense. Don't let Layton walk all over you. That doesn't make any sense at all. How many times do I need to tell you there are no witches, no magic? The legendary fire is just a story. This interrogation serves no purpose. Mr. Cantabella, the court asks you to be quiet during another witness's testimony, unless you are asked to speak. Grr. Everyone was gathered in the town square for the fire festival, and I was watching them from the bell tower. Could you tell us a little more about this fire festival you were watching? The Honoyobon. Bone? Culture festival? I don't know. It seems to be an ancient custom in this area. The townspeople make a fire offering to the Great Witch Bezella so that she will not bring misfortunes upon them. A great fire is lit in the middle of the town square. The festival lasts all night long. And then we float cotton down the river. That's correct. The festival takes place once every year. It is quite magnificent with all the townsfolk assembled in the square. Unless it is a counterfeit memory imprinted in our minds by you. No, this festival has been held here since before I was born. It appears to be a very old custom indeed. By the way, why were you in the bell tower in the first place? Huh? You know, you said everyone was at the town square. Why weren't you there? I can't remember. I probably went there because Bezella awoke within me. Despite having vivid memories of the fire, you do not remember much of anything else that occurred at that time? Yes. I was at the top of the bell tower, looking down at people in the town square. Someone was with me there. Oh, that's right, it was Eve. Eve. Her black cat, huh? I didn't think Eve was that old. Well, then... Do you remember casting a spell? I cannot remember. Let's hear the rest of this first. Head hurts, but the town perishing in the flames so fast is engraved in my memory. That must be a very harrowing memory. I think that whenever Bezella takes over my body, my consciousness drifts away. But I'm sure of it. There's no mistake about me being Bezella.
What makes you so certain about it?
Because Eve has always been with me. You mean that black cat? How is that relevant? According to the legend of Bezella, she is always accompanied by a black cat. That small, furry animal is actually her minion. In the stories, that is. Eve was there with me. I'm sure she was. And I saw the town engulfed in flames. These memories are causing her a lot of pain. Spella, hang in there. Ganbate.
Hold it!
An enormous fire dragon, you said. Can you tell me more about that fire dragon? That monstrous image is still so vivid. It looked just like the one that attacked Dad this evening. I've done something terrible again.
Then you are sure that the fire dragon you saw more than 10 years ago and the one you summoned this evening were exactly the same?
Yes. They were definitely the same. Well, he disagrees with that too. But Espella, magic isn't real. Therefore, the dragon summoned by the spell Grandworm doesn't exist either. But I did see it, I'm not lying. I saw it just for a moment, I'm sure of it. It's like talking to a wall. There's no convincing her.
There may be another explanation. Espella might have seen something in the shape of a dragon. It could have been a vase, which I will now ask you to rotate until it looks like a dragon.
From case 1-5. Alright then. Nick? Mr. Cantabello wrote this town's story, right? Well, yeah. So he's the author, and he's saying that Bezella doesn't exist. That's right. If that's the case, then there's no point to this whole trial. We know that, but that's not enough to end it. But why? The professor has taken on the role of the Inquisitor in this trial in order to get Mr. Cantabello to testify. He wants to get to the bottom of this mystery and learn the whole truth. Besides, I think this will be in Espella's best interest, too. I trust the professor's judgment on this, so I'll carry on with the cross-examination. Well, I trust you, Nick. I'm sure you know what you're doing. Good old Maya.
Hold it! Hang on!
You look upset, Mr. Cantabello. Pardon me, did you want something? I'd like to know what you think about Espella's last statement. My opinion about all this has not changed since last time. It's all just a dream. Listen to me, Espella. You are not Bezella. There was no legendary fire. Dad, you have no idea how much I want to believe you, but I just can't. I remember what I saw, how it felt, the heat, the smoke. Magic doesn't exist. It belongs in fairy tales. There are no fire dragons either.
Espella seems certain that she saw a fire dragon at that time. However, as long as we do not have any evidence to support or disprove this claim, we can't make any progress.
Do I have any relevant evidence? Anything. Pendant looks a little like a dragon.
No.
I don't think there's anything I could use.
I can understand your choice to be cautious with your judgment, Mr. Wright. However, I must remind you that the only way to discover the whole truth is to bring to light the true nature of the dragon witnessed by the accused.
I guess he has a point there. Maybe I overlooked some clues in the testimony? Let's arm ourselves to the teeth with evidence and give it another shot. Alright, but first we need more info. Time to do some pressing.
Hold it!
Alright, and now she says something about it looking the same.
Hang on!
Music, stop. Something wrong, Mr. Cantabella. It's impossible. There's no such thing as magic. You never believe me, Dad. I don't know why you have to be like this. There was a time when things were different. Espella, what are you saying? Look at them. It's like a common argument between a teenager and a parent. Mr. Cantabella created this town. He knows better than anyone else that there's no magic here.
Ms. Cantabella,
Yes?
would you mind giving us more details of what you saw?
Wasn't she already doing that? And we we have to interrupt her by looking at her dad. Before she'll say, oh, we're getting a sketch. Could I borrow a sheet of parchment and a pencil? I think it'll be better if I draw it. Bring parchment and a pencil for the witness immediately. This is it. This is the fire dragon that I saw that night. Oh, she's got some nice chiaroscuro shading.
Consummate, V's, consummate. I wouldn't know majesty if it bit him in the face.
I only caught a glimpse of it, but it was real.
I must say, it does closely resemble the supposedly magical creature we witnessed this evening.
It does indeed. This drawing shall be added to the evidence. This is a farce. What happened over a decade ago? Was the town really destroyed by a fire dragon?
Discovering the truth about the dragon shall be our next objective.
So... Whoops, almost presented it. Okay, that right there, the tail, looks like the symbol on her pendant. What is the rest of it supposed to be? Nobody knows. Is the negative space supposed to look like a person with hair and there's a cat and its tail? Who knows?
Hold it! Hang on!
You look upset, Mr. Cantabella. Ah, pardon me. Did you want something? I'd like to know what you think about Espella's last statement. My opinion. Okay. Listen to me. Okay. This is still repeat conversation, but the music didn't stop last time. The hell? Oh, 1 second. Magic doesn't exist. It belongs in fairy tales. There are no fire dragons either. The spell seems to be a fire dragon at a time. Oh, if I say I have evidence, I can't back out of it. Let's do it to save now. Let me back out and save again. The fact that the music stops makes me think that they do want me to present something there. So,
Hold it! Hang on!
So I think maybe raising this, I don't know if I'm supposed to present the sketch or jump right to presenting the pendant. I think it's going to be the sketch, and then they're going to ask me where on the sketch, and I'll point to the tail. Your Honor, what is it, Defender? The defense will present evidence. Evidence? I suppose you mean evidence that will prove that my daughter's memories of the dragon amount to nothing more than wild imagination? On the contrary, uh-oh. I'm pretty positive Estelle did see the dragon. What? I thought you had more sense in you. Well, aren't we all curious about what the defense has got to show us? Present evidence that proves a dragon appeared in this town over 10 years ago. Do they want me to present the sketch?
Take that!
Okay. That's terrible evidence, but okay. Alright, good. It is, of course, Isabella's drawing of the dragon. It's impossible to draw a dragon with so much detail unless you've actually seen it. That's... Then how did this picture get in the game? Huh? Indeed, and it looks very much like the fire dragon we saw this evening. It cannot be a mere coincidence. You can't possibly use that drawing as evidence. And why not? Because she could have just drawn the dragon from this evening. Dad, why don't you believe me? I saw that dragon when I was little. This town is my creation. I know everything in it, and I assure you there's no magic. If there's anyone who can tell me what's possible and what is not, it is me, the creator of Labyrinthio.
Your overconfidence has clouded your judgment and is preventing you from seeing the truth.
What do you mean?
In order to see what is really there, you need to reject biased assumptions and keep an open mind. You are overlooking certain facts precisely because you are the creator of this town.
It's nothing short of insanity.
Magic doesn't exist, and yet Isabella says she saw a fire dragon. It seems like a contradiction, but perhaps it is not. Mr. Wright.
Yes?
The solution to this mystery is out there. We just need to find it. Do you suppose you know where it is? Magic doesn't exist. Isabella saw a fire dragon. Where is the evidence that bridges the gap between these two? Okay.
I'm still kind of like, the only thing I have to go on is that the tail looks like the pendant, right? Does it even? Yeah, it kind of does. What is in the belfry? The bell, I guess. There is a belfry in the bell in the belfry, and it is probably the Bell of Ruin, which is made of silver. This is written in a way that makes it sound like it's the right answer. Did we once upon a time see a map of the town? Oh, you know what? Maybe she did look... Maybe she... I mean, we have nothing that would suggest this, but maybe looking down from the bell tower, does the town take the shape of a dragon? It does, I mean, these do look like flames. Is that what it is? That she looked... She stood up in the bell tower and looked down and said, is this a puzzle? Is this an environmental dragon? Yeah, just the way that it's written, I'm gonna go with it's the town itself. Isabella was watching the town burn at that time. She says she saw an enormous fire dragon. Now, if you put the two together, I think our best guess is that the dragon she saw was this town itself.
This town? In other words, Isabella saw a dragon's shape looming over the burning town.
How absurd. That's mere speculation.
I will not dispute that. However, it is entirely possible to test our theory.
What? And how would you go about doing that?
It is quite simple, Mr. Storyteller. We will now go to the belfry. Maybe we'll find that fire dragon there.
So maybe I was imagining things, looking at the tail, and seeing the pendant shape.
Over 10 years ago, the witness was standing somewhere around here when she saw a fire dragon. Am I correct?
Yes, Mr. Layton.
However, what was it that you actually saw then? Let us see if we can find the answer to that question.
Why not? Go ahead and try, but I have warned you that it's futile. You will find nothing here. Wait, why? Oh, he's upset because he's saying she shouldn't have any memories at all from 10 years ago. And she's saying, no, I do have a memory, there was a fire dragon in it. And if we prove that she saw something that wasn't a fire dragon, it still disproves his memory thing. Well, it happened a long time ago. Whatever she saw might not be there anymore. And if we want to see exactly what she saw, we'll need to go set the whole town on fire. Want me to go get matches? I may be an attorney, but even I couldn't clear you of the charges if you actually committed such a crime, Maya.
I will pretend I did not hear that. Shall we begin?